The encounter of national reconciliation was the most anticipated moment of Pope Francis's visit to Colombia. After an artistic representation of Psalm 85, the psalm praying for peace and justice, the 6,000 present listened to the testimony of both victims of Colombian conflict and repentant aggressors. Pastor Mira received a standing ovation after sharing her chilling story. She forgave and took care of her father's murderer when he was old and abandoned. Years later, one of her daughters disappeared, and she found her corpse 7 years later. That was not all. In 2005, a paramilitary group murdered her youngest son. 3 days after I buried him, I helped a wounded young man and laid him in the same bed that had belonged to Jorge Anibal. On leaving the house, the young man saw my son's photos and reacted by telling me that he was one of his murderers and how they had tortured him before killing him. I thank God that with the help of Mama Mary, she gave me the strength to serve him without hurting him, despite my inexpressible pain. The woman left one of her most precious possessions with the remains of the Christ of Bohia, the shirt that her missing daughter had given her son, who was killed years later. It was a gesture that stood out for Pope Francis.
Es el crucificado de Boyacá quien te ha dado esa fuerza para perdonar y para amar, y para ayudarte a ver en la camisa que tu hija Sandra Paola regaló a tu hijo Jorge Aníbal no solo el recuerdo de sus muertes, sino la esperanza de que la paz triunfe definitivamente en Colombia. Gracias, gracias.
The Christ of Bohia referred to by Pope Francis was the mutilated image that was present at the encounter. The image experienced a massacre in 2012 and became the symbol of the Colombian conflict. The parish where he was had been hit with a cylinder bomb that killed almost 100 people, who took refuge inside it to flee clashes between paramilitaries and FARC. During his speech, the Pope said that mercy and justice are compatible and that the other 3 people who spoke alongside Pastora, including a former FARC representative, are an example of being able to have a fresh start and new beginning.
Tenemos que romper esa cadena que se presenta como ineludible, y eso solo es posible con el perdón y la reconciliación concreta. Colombia, abre tu corazón de pueblo de Dios. Déjate reconciliar.
At the end, the Pope and all the people in attendance prayed for peace, and Pope Francis went to the Cross of National Reconciliation that remembers the thousands of victims who've fallen due to violence in recent decades.